Common Core, state standards, and school leadership are among the many topics the nation's school leaders are discussing this week here in Albuquerque at the Council of the Great City Schools 57th Fall Conference. That's happening here downtown. It's sponsored by Albuquerque Public Schools, and that should be enough to put APS in the news, but that spotlight is being eclipsed by the feud going on between APS and the state's public education department. A flyer put out by the organization New Mexico Competes blasted APS Superintendent Winston Brooks for opposing the administration's new system to evaluate teachers. And Mr. Brooks fired back, saying he believes the mailers are politically motivated and misguided. And just yesterday, you may have seen this, a tweet of an image showing Governor Martinez and Education Secretary Scandaria with fangs. Sucking the life out of education was the sign that went with it, retweeted by Mr. Brooks, an action the governor's office called inappropriate. It seems a day doesn't go by without a new incident making the news, so joining us to talk about this and other news of the week is one of our line regulars, newly minted attorney Sophie Martin. And our other line regulars here today is Dan Foley, former Republican whip in the State House, joined by guests, our good friend Tracy Dingman. She's a board member with New Mexico In Depth, a favorite publication of mine. And UNM law professor Antoinette Cedillo Lopez is back. Tracy, let me start with you. Protests over standardized tests. PED says less than 1% of classroom hours are spent taking these tests. Teachers say that's not the point. It's the time spent teaching the test that makes, taking away from learning other things. Let's get to this friction, however. We understand what the issues are between the two groups. I want to get right to this mailer. A lot of folks got this in their mailbox. Here it is right here. Winston Brooks misleading the public to block education reform. Let me ask you a question. Is this man running for votes or money? And if he isn't, why are these things in our mailbox? What's going on here?
Yeah, he's got quite a target on his back. They're really going after him. I mean, I spend a lot of time on Twitter, and there's a lot going on Twitter. And I kind of, you mentioned the Winston Brooks retweets, but there's a lot of attacks. I mean, just out and out ad hominem attacks, and I just really kind of wish
attacks
that they're
by who?
Attacks by some anonymous people, actually. And I just kind of wish that a grown-up would step up on Twitter and say, come on, let's stop calling names, let's stop calling for people's indictments, let's stop, investigations. And it's kind of crazy. I think the rhetoric is really, really overheated. And there's no policing on Twitter, and there shouldn't be. But it's something that I have to admit that, late at night I indulge in reading.
Sure, New Mexico.
For sheer entertainment value.
That's right. Sophie, New Mexico Competes is the group that put this out, a 501c4 nonpartisan group. I'm reading right off of this. But it's been revealed that
Did you say nonpartisan group?
Yes, that's what it's claiming, a nonpartisan 501c4. However, we know now who's behind this issue.
Sure.
Does this make for some kind of conflict in some way? We have Sarah Lister and some other folks who were big in the administration of the Martinez folks. They've peeled off. They're doing this. Pat Rogers is a board member, ex-FOG member. We know the names. Is there a connection here between the administration and these folks?
So just to be clear, in the organization of a 501c4, it is important that the group keep its activities separate from the activities, say, of Governor Martinez's own administration or her election. But the people that you have mentioned who are involved in the organization of the 501c4 are identified as high-profile Republicans, people who have connections with Governor Martinez personally, or with the Republican Party, with her administration. But it is important that those two be kept separate legally for IRS purposes, et cetera. The optics aren't good.
Right.
The way that it looks isn't good. And certainly this group has, at this point, a pattern of going after targets that it maybe doesn't hurt the governor that those targets have been targeted.
Sure. Antoinette, the administration has the right to put out its position on these things. Nobody would argue that. This table or any place else. Is this the right way to do it? I guess that's the question I'm hearing from a lot of folks. Folks feels like this corrodes.
I feel that it's just, it's really disappointing because people are talking like they have the same objective, which is to improve education.
Sure.
Why divert that goal? Why not have everybody kind of focus on the goal and find the common ground instead of making an enemy out of Winston Brooks? I think it may be tied to the polling they did about who's popular and who's not. Notice the polling the general polling they did, where they found that Winston Brooks' approval rating was pretty low compared to the governor's.
Sure.
Look what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of like they're attacking the weak, the weak link. I find it really, really disappointing. Instead of working with the superintendent of the largest school district in the state, they do this. I mean, it's just not responsible.
And Dan, I want to ask you the same question, but you know, under the umbrella of all this is a continuing conversation or not between the administration and folks in the education community. And I think about Ms. Scandera, our Education Secretary Designate, forwarding out that letter from Ms. Corte out to all kinds of other people whose business that letter was not of their privy. It was a private letter. So we have all these other things going on. So I ask again, Dan, is this an appropriate way to get across your point about education reform? Is there not another way to do this besides making it a personal attack on somebody?
Well, it's, you know, there's a lot in that question you asked.
Sure there is. Yep.
You know, first, you got to start off with, it's interesting that we're having some trepidation at the table about the possible connection between people that worked for Governor Martinez. But this is the first conservative group we've seen rise like this. You've got Progress in New Mexico. You got multiple liberal organizations from the Center for Policy Reform, I can't remember the exact name of it, that went after the Democrat legislators as well, that has been doing this for a long time. Now, the problem is that you keep saying that, is this the appropriate way for the administration to get its message out? This is not the administration getting its message out. This is a nonpartisan, non-private entity taking an issue that it believes in. Do I think that it's gotten too personal? Clearly it's getting personal. But I think it's been getting personal both sides. I mean, we're taking a stance here that's like, I can't believe that they sent this out. But there's been lots of comments from APS and folks at APS about this administration, about their stance from the very start. There's been a very big reluctance from the start from APS to get on board with, quite frankly, education reforms that are being promoted by President Barack Obama's Secretary of Education. This stuff is right in line. And he came out here and was praising this stuff. So, you know, I think that you are seeing that the governor is reaching across the aisle. I mean, to be implementing policies that President Barack Obama, I don't think people would say that his administration, her administration are aligned on many issues.
But folks are free to disagree with that position. Is Mr. Brooks not free to disagree with that position and not just come on board? You know, and does he deserve to have this if we're not just coming on board?
But you keep acting like Winston Brooks is just some citizen, Joe Citizen down the street. He's the superintendent of the largest school district in the state.
We all
He's
know
got
that,
a weekly column in the newspaper.
Is he asking for votes or money? Because this is reserved for people who are asking the public for votes or money.
Not at all. That's reserved for people that are trying to shape public policy.
All right, let me go
There's
to
a big difference,
Antoinette.
Gene.
You have a thought
Yeah,
there.
I just think that that's exactly why they shouldn't do this, given his position. It's not a political position. This is a position in which it's a nonpartisan position in which he needs to look out for the best interests of the students. The governor and this, whatever this organization is, says it's about education. Is this going to be effective? Is this modeling effective communication for the students? It's very disappointing.
Tracy, please.
Can I just jump in? And as a mom, you know, I got this mailer at my house, and my kids, you know, they see it and they ask me about it, and I, you know, started to explain it, and I realized as I was going down the road of trying to explain it that it was just kind of embarrassing. I mean, it's really not modeling good behavior on either side, really.
It's disrespectful.
We got to wrap up here in a quick second. I just think it corrodes the conversation. I don't see how anybody in APS could have a reasonable conversation with the administration after something like this.
But Gene, how
Why
can
would they
anybody
come to
in
the table to
administration
have
have a conversation with them after they're tweeting pictures of Governor Martinez? I haven't heard anybody at this table say that the superintendent of the largest school district retweeting the picture of the governor with fangs is highly inappropriate. So
I
mean,
it's inappropriate. It's also before and it's also before and after.
I mean,
but again,
you know,
it is
what comes
inappropriate.
first?
It
I
is
mean,
inappropriate.
The problem is this whole conversation, and what I want to make sure the viewers understand, you're acting, Gene, like this is the first shot in this whole conversation that's been going on for 3 years. It has been a very public disagreement between the superintendent of APS
But does that make
and his
this
folks.
okay? What you're describing is, we all get that.
That's how you
Does
push
that-
policy. That's policy.
Is
That's
it?
how you push
Is
policy.
it?
You ought to ask all the organizations that are mailing daily.
Okay.
Daily getting that mail, whether it's instant media or mails like that. That stuff clearly drives public opinion.
We're going to take this up again next week. I promise you that. We've got Winston Brooks coming.
It's not the
next
right
week,
way,
so
though. I want to make sure I say that,
Okay.
Gene.
Okay.
I think going after anybody to the level that both of these groups are doing it, it erodes the conversation, which really should be about how do we get from 50th in the nation in educating our kids up to the #1 spot.
Fair enough. Good stopping point there. I mentioned the Great City Schools Conference happening this week. The pinnacle event was a national town hall meeting, a conversation in the round about race, language, and culture in America. The essence of that town hall will be broadcast right here on New Mexico PBS 5.1 on Thursday, November 7th from 7 to 8 p.m. And in a moment, we'll take you to an exclusive interview with U.S. Representative Michelle Lujan Grisham.